My name is Ellie.
And my name is Ross.
Welcome to our podcast, In Real Life, where we dive deep into life, relationships, and real-world topics.
We promise laughter, tears, and jaw-dropping moments. Well, I don't want to promise it. But
So get ready, because this is what it means for us to live in real life. This series will touch on subjects related to suicide and other challenging life experiences. If you're struggling with thoughts of self-harm or suicide, you can reach out to Lifeline Australia at 13 11 14 or reach their website at www.lifeline.org.au.
welcome back
Welcome back
to IRL
in real
with
life.
Ellie and Ross. Ross and Ellie.
And Daisy.
Why don't you go first?
Oh, you want me to go first?
No, why do you go first? Why is it Ellie and Ross, not Ross and Ellie?
Just because it sounds better, Ellie and Ross. It rolls off the tongue.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, well, it does.
Well, welcome back, guys.
I should go first anyway. Ladies first.
We are doing a 3-4. We've decided it's going to be one more episode after this
Yeah,
on the reasons why we have decided to live child-free.
yeah, we have. And we've sort of covered, the history of the list, why we wrote the list, what our reasons were.
You wrote the list.
Yeah, sorry, why I wrote
We
the
did
list.
not write.
Why I wrote the list, where it came from, what our real reasons were
What its
behind not
origins
having
were.
children. Yeah, the real reasons why we have decided not to have children. But today, what I would really like to hear is your perspective. And we're also going to hear what your list may be, if you have one, what
got a
your
list.
perspective.
I do actually have a list.
Yeah, perfect.
It's got one thing on it.
Okay, we'll get to that. Calm down. And also what you think of the list, and also
What I think
a
of
lot
your
of
list?
of my list, and then also what you what expectations there are on women, men, and as a couple, the society standards that come along, and how different they are, what it's like for me, what it's like for you. So we're going to jump into it.
Let's go.
So tell me, what's on your list?
What's on my list?
Yeah.
Well, I actually wrote down because I wanted to make sure that I could articulate this.
Yeah.
I wrote down, just like you did, you had 117 reasons. Now, what is that up to? How many is it up to?
It's past
'Cause you've had-
200.
Is it?
Yeah, because all the parents that read it were like, you're missing this, you're missing that, you got to put this in. So I was like, okay, sweet, just hold on, let me write it down. Give me some time. So I just used to add little things when people would
Hasn't
send me
changed
DMs.
your feelings? Hasn't
No,
haven't
I
thought
don't.
entertained?
It hasn't changed. Yeah, definitely entertaining, very funny. It'd be like, add Christmas wrapping to that list, add the Easter bonnet parade, add there's just so many funny little things that you forget as a child growing up.
Didn't change any of your core reasons why.
No,
what we spoke about last episode.
No. They were just funny things to add. Yeah,
My
but
list is simple.
I want to hear yours.
My list is very simple.
I've been roasted for mine, so let's go.
I'll probably get roasted for mine too. Mine is, and people go, you're selfish. I reckon that's what I will hear. I reckon that's a response. Mine is really simple. I don't want the responsibility that comes with bringing consciousness into this world.
And what does that mean to you?
If you bring a child into this world, if we brought a child in this world, or if anyone brings a child in this world, I believe it should be, that should be your number one priority.
Yeah.
I reckon everything else changes in life. It should change. And you feel what they feel.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it's hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel it's pain. I don't want to feel it's bullying. Last episode, I don't want to feel if they experienced 5% of the stuff I've seen you experience.
Or even experience what you've experienced as well.
Yeah. But I mean, I got to see I get to, when you see something from an outside perspective, I find it sometimes a little bit hard to reflect like that.
Yeah.
But seeing, you as something that's outside of my control, seeing you experience things that are also beyond your control, fuck, I don't know how I could handle that. I don't know how I could handle the most important.
I feel like we barely just scraped by getting through what we were going through, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, there were some
really hard times,
challenging moments for sure.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we had great people around us
that
we could lean on and get great counsel from. But yeah, for me, so I'm happy to sacrifice the potential of what a child may bring in order for the certainty of what I've got right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think if we had a child, if all of a sudden, you know, a child was coming down the conveyor belt and it popped off and it was ours, name tag on it, barcode or whatever, like it had to be ours, we would be great parents, I think. You would be an incredible mother.
And you would be an incredible dad.
Oh, thank you. But for me, I just, the certainty that I have right now, or the certainty that I have in my day-to-day life, with all the variables and people and relationships or whatever, I'm happy to look back. I think I'll be happy to look back in 20 or 30 years and to accept that there was a possibility of a different level of happiness, a different level of love, but I'm happy to accept the certainty of knowing that there was no variabilities, or is that the right word? Right way to describe it? There was no roll of the dice in the fact that, well, what if your child, like if we had a child and let's just say something happened to you and the kid was 5 years old and, you know, you got hit by a bus or something.
Is this being planned?
No, obviously not, because one, not planning to have a child. Two,
this is the plan later if we don't have a kid.
No, I mean, if something happened, like I saw my younger brother experience the loss. Unfortunately, I was old, and look, it tore me apart. I was about 30 when I lost my dad.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I had 10 to 12 years as an adult of a relationship with my dad, which is fucking awesome. Wouldn't change it for the world. I had about 5 years of a great relationship with your dad. I think the first 2 years are like, and I could understand that. I could only imagine being a girl dad.
Yeah.
And like some dude coming in, like, who's this fuckwit? Like, that would be the hardest thing.
All he thought was like that you were just trying to sleep with me, which, I was like, I hope he does.
That was part of it.
But it was part of it. But he was just protective. But I think he saw very early on, it wasn't 2 years. Like you guys were closer than that, like sooner. But I think he saw you very quickly and knew that you were there because you loved me and cared about me and wanted the best for me.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of things that I did that I think he was aware of that were just like, oh, this guy's actually...
not a dick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of, but...
yeah, definitely.
In a good way.
But for me, I mean, that's my list. I mean, my list is literally, I don't want the responsibility of bringing consciousness into this world. I don't want the responsibility of bringing consciousness into the world.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
when
so
you
fair.
when you bring, like, and it's not a choice. If, again, a baby was coming down a conveyor belt and it was assigned to us, I think you'd accept it. Like, cool. I'm not saying turn that child away. Like, consciousness doesn't exist. The child doesn't exist, so we're choosing to make it not exist. And I don't want to accept what comes along with that when you have a child.
Yeah.
I don't want to accept when it's in, year 11 and, the girls are sitting behind and cutting their hair. Like what you had happen to you.
Yeah. This actually happened. It was like, I think it was like grade 8 or 9. I was sitting in class and girls sat behind me with scissors and actually cut my hair.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And that was when my dad drove down to the principal's office and like lost his shit. And I had no idea it was happening until the teacher pulled us aside after class, and like he was just irate, like the anger. And that was the day. Like I actually learned a lot from that experience, and in rejecting people's ideas of me or judgments of me, because Dad goes, do you know what? That's got everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. I hope you do realise that. People's responses to you and the things that they do to you, like that's not on you.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very present father. Not necessarily like present as in he was always there, but he was very caring and you say like played the bad cop.
Yeah.
He played the bad cop because
he wanted to be a good parent.
But he wanted to install good lessons, morals, values and beliefs and whatever.
Exactly.
Sometimes you need to take a hard line, not just let a kid do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, for me, like that's like I'm happy, and I believe that I will be happy to sacrifice that potential of maybe a deeper love or a love you'd never feel, whatever it is. I'm happy to I'm happy to explore those things, that they may be a possibility. You don't feel love like you really feel when you've got a child, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, maybe, but also what I don't want to explore are the feelings that I think that I would feel when
Well, I personally know
see-
that I would feel those things if we did have a
Oh,
kid.
look, and I think parents probably do feel those things as well. Good parents,
Yeah.
I think bad parents sort of just don't really give a fuck. And unfortunately, there's too many bad parents out there. There's too many kids out there.
Well,
and
there's so many children
broken homes and
who are
environments.
foster children and don't have a home.
Yeah,
don't
look,
have
not
their
even, but
parents.
not even foster. Like I know a lot of parents, and I was just thinking to myself, like, fuck, like, are you really like giving this kid the best chance at life? Are you really?
Yeah.
And again, having gone through seeing your shit, my stuff, and again, my younger brother was 11, and like, man, it breaks me up. It breaks me every time I think, like, I can't imagine having lost my dad when I was 11 years old. At 11 years old, you're what, maybe in year 6 or 7 or something like that. That's the least of your worries. You're trying to fit in with school. You're starting to go through puberty. Like,
He also didn't have the chance to know that your dad was as sick as what he was as well.
yeah, that's also true.
And he was
yeah.
unfortunately kept in the dark about all of that, or fortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah, and look,
I think
they did that to protect him. I think that they sort of had hopes that maybe they were deluded hopes. Definitely they were deluded hopes, but I don't think that they really introduced like the actual narrative and maybe. But also
because he woke up one day and his dad was just gone.
Yeah, but also, how do you do that with a 11-year-old child? How do you start? What conversations do you have? Being like, hey, by the way, Dad's sick and there's a chance that he'll die, and that opens up a conversation like, okay, cool. What does death mean? How does that like?
Yeah,
I don't know. And so not having a father figure, not having a male in your life, and I think that's like very challenging. Like I would be a very different person, and I don't know if I would be a better person. I kind of feel like I wouldn't be the person that I know that I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I had lost my dad when I was 11. Maybe it would have made for incredible growth and, character building moments or whatever.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, like I look back at that and I think, wow, like I just have nothing but like empathy for him. I just, like you have this experience which was totally out of your control at a point in your life where it should be the last fucking thing on your mind, and you go through that.
Yeah.
So for me, like those experiences, that experience, seeing your experience, even when you were 25, but so I've got a lot of. So your dad and I, we had a great relationship. When we lived in the States, he came over and spent a month, 5 weeks with us.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Yeah.
So when
and then before that in LA, he came
when we
and stayed with
first
us
moved.
as well.
So we first moved.
Yeah.
Left everyone at the airport. He came over within a week.
Yeah.
With my younger brother, with one of my younger brothers.
Yeah.
And we had a house. We rented a house for like we didn't rent it. We had.
It's like an
Airbnb, for like, I don't know, 10 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And we did all the touristy things while we're having meetings, trying to get you signed.
Yeah.
And we hung out, and he had to go to the Caribbean islands because his dad had just passed away and he was sorting out his estate. We did that. My little brother went home. Then you and I we went on to where we finally ended up in Austin, Texas, which was cool.
A lot of people don't realize that we were there for like almost a year when we first moved to America.
So we were there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then your dad on the way back came and stayed with us for like 3 or 4 weeks, and we hung out. And then, a short while later, he passed away. Yeah. And for me, like that, like I like torn, hey, absolutely torn, because here's this guy that like I love, he's awesome. I'll definitely call him one of my best friends. But then he's also, I know he's your dad. And then seeing that, seeing what he did, I feel like, fuck, you must have been in so much pain. You must have had so much shit going on to think that was your only out. That's my heart breaking for him. But then on the other side, I had like so much hate for seeing what he did to you, because it just broke you. Like it actually fucked you up.
Look at us both crying.
I'm not crying yet. I'm holding my tears back.
No, I think that's the first time I've actually ever heard you talk about that like that.
Yeah, well, but it's not something you really talk about. Like, hey, do you want breakfast this morning? Well, by the way.
Yeah.
No, it actually, like, I didn't, that really fucked me up for a good year. like maybe
Yeah.
2 years. And again, fortunately, working with Albert, having
And
a
I
counsellor.
think also too, like I was in the same position with your dad and how your dad left things
Oh, definitely.
and the stress and like,
Yeah.
and, like the just.
So it's like from an outside perspective, you get to feel this like compassion for your partner, but also this almost like, I don't want to say hate, it's such a strong word, but hate for this person who caused that to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel hate towards Rick, your dad. I feel nothing but love and
It's
empathy.
just hate towards the situation.
But then I'm like, fuck, but you did that to her. You did like to my most important human, which is you. The feelings, the problem, the challenges you caused her. Like, I don't want to say it fucked you up, but it did. It fucked you up for like 6 months,
Oh,
9
yeah,
months.
yeah.
And
well, you
like,
know what happened in
fortunately-
Vegas not long after
What happened in Vegas?
that whole
You
situation.
can't like leave people like,
Well,
I know
no.
what happened in Vegas.
Yeah, but I mean, like it just goes to.
We'll leave that for another episode.
We'll leave that for
shall we?
another episode. I think.
Yeah.
It's not.
Wasn't a nice moment, put it that way, for you.
No.
But I mean, that for me, those things, like having like taken those things on, and again, that personal experience of like my dad and then my younger brother and like the way that my dad left things, and yeah, and I don't have hate towards him either. Like, I don't know what goes through your head, whether when you're preparing to die, whether like you've almost been given a life sentence,
Yeah.
and I don't know what goes through your head before you decide that this is it, we're done.
Yeah.
But I from seeing your side and seeing what that did, I didn't feel like I saw my younger brother and all of those sorts of things. And it's like, fuck, I don't want the happiness and the love and all of these things that will possibly come from bringing our human into this world. If there's even a chance of those things happen, which
Yeah.
again might sound cynical and be like, yeah, but there's so many other things and blah. I'm sure that there are. But I'm happy actually to shelve those for the certainty that they won't. If you don't bring something into this world, I'm certain that I don't get to watch the consciousness that I brought into this world experience pain, hurt, loss, frustration. Like,
And they will.
That won't happen.
You know that they will.
Oh, look, yeah.
They will.
Sure. And no matter what you can do, like they're going to be heartbroken, the boyfriend or the girlfriend's going to do whatever, and they might get a minor car accident, or they might be late to work and their boss fires them.
They might get bullied so bad
Yeah,
that they end up wanting to take their own lives.
They also might live a great life, and they might be. I'm actually totally fucking cool shelving the fact that they live a blessed life and things are cool.
Yeah.
Because there are so many variabilities, especially in the world that we live in today.
Yeah.
I just think the world is so fucked up. Like,
I
the
think
world's
there's a lot
great.
of people that also say it's what a negative way to look at the world, and like the regret thing. Like, would you regret it?
Maybe.
And honestly,
Maybe
like,
I'm more than happy to regret something when it doesn't involve someone else, because that's my regret.
Yeah.
Like, PBD podcast, their whole like motto or phrase or slogan or whatever is future looks bright. And I believe that. Like, future looks bright. The future is great. I think there's opportunities for everyone. I think prosperity is on the horizon. I think we are at a bit of like a tipping point where it can go one or the other way. Like, I think things are looking great for the world. I think the world is a bit fucked up.
Yeah.
But I also think that the world is a great place. I'm happy to be alive. Like, I don't look at and wake up and think, oh, another day in this like shit environment.
yeah, we have peace and happiness.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But the
we've
horizon
we've
and like
built that for ourselves.
but like greater, bigger picture. Like, I don't think that there's like, I don't think the world's particularly a bad place. I do just think that it's a bit fucked up in a lot of ways. Like, again, I didn't have a phone. I had a phone when I was maybe in year 11 or year 10, had credit, played Snake.
Yeah, you get like $20 of credit.
But these days, like a kid in year 7, year 8, they're on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, all of this shit. And like, they're being sold, and we have gotten to see the other side of these things because you have been paid to promote things, and you understand how a company or a business creates content to be able to influence someone to be able to buy a product so they make money.
Yeah.
And you take that to like the extreme of what people do to influence people and how
they abuse that.
Oh, I don't know how to manage that. And so I'm willing to shelve all of these cool things when I hear the responses from mates, friends, family, and like, yeah, but you'll love it. You'll be a different person. You won't know. Like, you know what? I'm actually fine to park that if it means not having to experience the potential or almost the certainty of seeing these things unfold. So that's long story short, that's my fucking list.
I remember
that's
once
my list.
when we were, like, I was talking about regret, like with my dad and things like that, and it was with Dwayne. It was like the first time I'd actually like caught up with him in person. And this is Dwayne Johnson for anyone who's thinking Dwayne.
Just a name drop.
DJ, The Rock. But this actually taught me a really valuable lesson about not regretting things. I was like, I led into a conversation where I was like, I regret not being at home or as much because I was obviously in LA and he was in Australia and I didn't spend enough time with him. He goes, oh no. Like the way that Dwayne does it. He's like, don't regret anything. He's like, you are where you're meant to be or something like that, like along those lines.
So you remember it really clearly. Or something like that.
No, it was a few years ago, but it was about not regretting the decisions that you make. And he's like, because these things like lead you to where you're supposed to be, like that's your story.
It's definitely, it's where you are. But I mean, some people maybe who aren't as well equipped or have a support network or people or whatever, maybe it leads them down a different path.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. But anyway, look, that's to answer your question. Yeah. Long story long.
I love that.
That's my list. My list is very simple. It's that one answer. And I don't want to explore it. I don't want people to try and convince me otherwise. And also I don't try and convince, leave me the fuck alone. I actually don't I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince you to go and fucking try hot yoga if you're overweight, your joints are, I get it. If you like food, enjoy food. That's fine. I'm going to give my 2 cents and be like, have you ever tried maybe, cutting back a little bit
but
or
don't
doing
push
this? But I'm not going to question them and their life. I'm probably more so going to pull back from that person because you don't agree with the same things that I agree with.
Yeah.
And I think we've probably found that with certain people where it's
definitely.
it's
not about them agreeing with it. It's just about respecting the decision and not trying to forcefully change your mind. Because again, their life experiences have not been ours. And, I'm glad a lot of the times that they're not, because I wouldn't wish what's happened on us to other people. But the child, they're bringing a child into their life, which is very, very different. They might also have support from their parents and their outer family. Whereas in comparison, we don't have that. You and I don't have that luxury, and that's something that we definitely took into account.
Yeah, but also, I think there's a lot of people out there who have this support network and
they're just
fuck going to the mother-in-law or the parents, and they're literally,
honestly,
they're
I
teaching
feel very
these
thankful
things.
that I don't.
You hear drop it off the grandparents and they give them lollies and then they give them back to the parents.
Or do
some people they just have very different values and beliefs, and it causes a lot of conflict within stuff. Anyway, I don't want the potential of conflict, so I'm happy to roll with the certainty of possible. I don't want to call it regret, but possible maybe it would have been great, but
But we don't know. We don't know that until that happens.
But I tell you what, I do know. I know that if I don't introduce someone, they, them, him, her, or they, or it, or that. Is it all of them?
Or what's the furries?
All of them.
The furries.
If I don't introduce something into this world that I had 100% control of, and also I believe that I have control over it, not you.
Yeah.
Because you actually can't get pregnant. Well, you could. If you want to get pregnant with me, I control that.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I have control. If I don't want to bring something.
Or I could do what people do to, what's his name, that rapper? Drake. He puts hot sauce in his condoms.
Wow, I've heard it, yeah.
And that girl sued him because she tried to put what was left in the condom up inside of her to get pregnant, and she had major internal burns because he put hot sauce in the condom to.
What sort of hot sauce is that? Wow. Do you reckon they use that on Hot Ones? Probably. The show with the wings?
Yeah. I could see Drake doing that, being perfect. That's the hot sauce I should put in my condom.
That's pretty messed up that people.
It is actually really messed up.
That's talking of reasons to or not to have it. That is a fucked up reason to have a child.
Yeah.
Because it is to someone of a specific
status or.
Oh man, that's really can you imagine being that kid and sort of realizing, mummy wanted me for a paycheck.
But also that's on the internet. Can you imagine Googling that? Your parent literally took what was in a condom with hot sauce in it.
Oh, that's.
and you're that
We've gone
child.
straight into the deep end. Straight into the deep end.
Like, that is wild. That's insane.
Yeah. So I think that that's literally my list. That's all I've got. I don't have too much more to add. I think like your list, like
it's very comprehensive.
But I thought
I'm not going to say it's very demure. It's very mindful.
I kind of thought when I saw you post it, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen here.
Look, I couldn't care. I feel like a lot of really
I know
good
you
stuff
didn't care. I know you didn't care because I know that you trust in you, and it was. Well, I wouldn't say it was well thought out because it was like it was snippets.
Definitely very like people just wanted to see it. So I'm like, okay, look, I'll just be honest. I'm not going to alter it. Like, that's what you get with me. You get like this like real life, unfiltered. Like, if you want to see it, I'll just show you what it looks like right now. I don't need to go through and perfect it or change things.
So when you did post it, you remember what we did? As soon as you posted it?
Yeah.
You got off the phone to Rani?
Yeah, we made it a post.
Yeah.
Because people started losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, you literally got hundreds of I've never seen your inbox. Not that I have access to it,
anything
but you showed me
to
on
do
your phone.
with being child-free online
just blew up.
Just like all of the conversations that we've had, all the questions that we sort of put out to people for this podcast, the interaction and interest, it still blows me away. But I'd love to hear your perspective and your thoughts and sort of like feelings about the list.
About your list? I don't know. To be honest, I thought it was pretty stupid.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought it was like...
Well, I mean, it was just something silly that was never supposed to really be put out there.
I thought it was something that was pretty stupid to be online and for people to like... Because everyone just took it out of context. I get the context that you shared it with John. Like, I totally get that. It was... And because we were having breakfast with John and Michael and like, you know, you got to put some context around it. But when you shared it as like whatever 10-second, 15-second story or whatever, there was no context really. Well, there was a few little comments, but there was no context around it. So I was just like,
for me in my head, there definitely was because of how common the question is that we get thrown on.
Yeah, but then
especially online from people.
I sort of looked at it as from like a total stranger perspective who maybe he's followed you for a couple of years and then randomly saw one of your stories and was like, all of a sudden this list popped up, why I'm going to remain child-free. And then to be like, pregnancy nose, like your nipples the size of dinner plates, people fisting you. Like I was like, oh, babe, I was, but... I don't want to say you were being like smart and strategic because I know you weren't. I know you weren't thinking.
That's not even what it was about. Because it was posted to my stories.
Pinky in the Brain? Can you remember that cartoon, Pinky in the Brain? Where they're like, and now we're going to take over the world. Like, that wasn't you at all. You were not.
No, honestly.
If anything, you were Pinky.
Because so many people were like, oh my God,
genius.
this is just for a publicity stunt. Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I just said, I know like, you just genuinely posted.
I just put it on my stories because everyone's like, I want to see the list. So I was like, okay.
So after that, we sat down. I was like, babe, look, I think people are going to take this very much out of context and unfairly are going to attack you. So let's write a post that really like articulates probably the stuff that we've spoken about over the last two episodes. 2 episodes.
Well, I think it was a great opportunity to be able to open the conversation because we saw how much people were interacting as well and how passionate people were feeling. And we had so many people saying, look, like love what you're speaking about. More people should talk about this more often. Nobody does. It's so taboo. And then the other end of the spectrum was like people popping off. So it was honestly just a really good opportunity to sit there and actually talk very in-depthly about it. Not that many people even read most of the caption. But
no, obviously, judging by if you read the caption and you still responded the way that like 15% of people responded, like you actually got fucking issues. Like go and sort your shit out.
Get a therapist.
For sure. But I think like the 80% of people who did respond, they obviously did read the caption and they thought, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And they were genuine, nice. Some people didn't agree, but they were still respectful. Like what you said, I think respect was
I think that's key here.
A big key thing.
I mean, key with anything in life, really.
But a lot of it comes down to like society's expectations. Do you feel as a woman, as a lady, as a female?
As a lady. I'm a lady.
What's that little Britain? I'm a lady.
Oh, I'm a lady. I go swimming in rivers with dresses and hats and shit. Like in his full deep voice. So, bring back little Britain. Everything's so censored these days.
Fuck that. Do you feel that as a chick, what do you think society? I mean, we touched on it a little bit last episode.
Yeah.
But what are societal's expectations, pressures for
Women?
having a child?
Yeah, look, I think it's ridiculously just stupid, the pressure that is put on women to have children, and not just to have children. It is the expectation to do it all. It's to have children, but have a career. Take care of your kids 24/7, which for a lot of people, like having children is a 24-hour job.
Oh,
so a lot of the husbands
definitely.
that go to work, they get a break. Like work for those men and women who go back to work, it's a break because having kids is a 24-hour-a-day job. It never stops. Like you don't go home at 5 o'clock and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to clock off. I'm just going to sit and watch this TV because I feel sick or I feel tired or like I'm just not going to do anything. You can't do that when you have children. And I think today we as women are expected to do and have it all.
You think still? You think
And
more
yes.
so? Do you think more so?
I do.
Do you think it's changed in the last, like, call it like what our lifespan?
Well, yes, it has,
What are
because
45?
you look
How
back
old are
at
you?
when our parents had us. Being a stay-at-home mum was enough. It was like that was what you did, and your husband went to work. He was the breadwinner. But now it's so expensive to fucking live and put your kids through childcare, through school, just to, like have them like living and breathing healthy children. It's so expensive. So a lot of parents are now having to go back to work, both of them. So women are expected to not just be a mum, a parent, be pregnant, like grow that child inside of her for 9 months, no matter how disruptive or insane it is. It's like you still get bills. You still have bills to pay, and
Who the fuck's Bill? Who's Bill?
you still have bill to pay.
I'm not paying Bill.
But
Is
yeah,
his full name William?
But just because you're pregnant, just because you just had a kid, like you still have bills to pay. And if your husband or your partner can't pay that themselves, you still have to go back to work. So
Yeah.
you then have to.
Yeah, but I do think a little bit of that. Let's push back a little bit, and but maybe going a little bit off top. I think as a society, I think we want and we consume far more than what we should these days. So I do think people like it be like, I need to go to work. It's like, how many streaming accounts do you have? You got your fucking Netflix, your iTunes, your blah, 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 your blah, 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 your Spotify, which you're listening to right now on us.
Hi.
You listen to us on. You've got literally, you're spending like $75.
Yeah.
You think that it's normal to get, your Uber Eats, all of these things are like 30, 40 years. They just didn't exist. And they've sort of become the norm.
There's different expenses now that never existed back in those days.
And they've also become another societal pressure, because
Yeah.
also if you didn't watch the latest Netflix, if you didn't listen to the latest thing, but you're also almost ostracized.
Yeah, you
as well.
are. And I think and you see this in the general media when men, for example, are asked, "Are you going to have children? How many children? Whatever the question is." And you've seen it with John Cena, Seth Rogen, and you see the way that the interviewers speak to them, how they talk to them, and when they answer that they don't want children, it's like, it's very understanding. It's like it's a completely different response to what the media usually give to women when they say they don't want children.
Speaking of John Cena, I've actually got a quote from him right here. That was a really nice segue.
Perfect.
I don't think he did that on purpose, but pinky,
Yeah.
not the brain. So John Cena, when asked, and this was from the HuffPost, when asked about having kids, do you want kids? So he said, and if you haven't watched the interview, I would definitely recommend watching it, whether you're deciding to live a child-free life or whether you're a parent, whatever. But his response is, I have a certain curiosity about life, and I also know the investment that it takes, Cena told host Sharon Sharp.
You don't need to say that, babe.
Oh, okay. As someone who's driven, many times stubborn and selfish, I try to approach the world with kindness and curiosity, but I don't think I'm personally ready, nor will I ever be, to invest the time needed to be a great parent. I want to live life for all that it is.
See, that is so great. But if a woman said that...
He didn't get criticised for it at all.
Yeah, exactly. But if a woman said that, I would say the response to that is, if you don't have children, you're not fulfilling your purpose.
Yeah.
a lot of people's beliefs are that women are here to have children.
Yeah.
Like I would say that
Well, I
is
mean, you
the belief.
were the one, and I think we mentioned it in the first or second episode. I thought I was saying like maybe a dude can carry a child, but that was
we did get that fact checked.
But apparently you can't. Like
you definitely can't. Not at the moment.
A born male. So apparently that movie Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had like that was not a documentary. So just so you know,
are we actually having this conversation right
cross
now?
that off your list. Boy, these days you got to be sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that. So yeah, we don't have to carry the child, and like I think carrying a child, then I don't think it like says that you are then responsible, from then on, because there's definitely a lot of stay-at-home dads, and there's definitely a lot of mums that go back to work, and the dad stays, or there's definitely a lot of single parents.
Yeah.
Whether that's the mum or the dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely. I think that there's, from a male's perspective, I don't think there's as much pressure on me. I've had conversations with my mates. Some of them have kids, some of them don't. Some of them don't and they want to. Some of them don't and they don't want to.
Yeah.
Some of them who do and they question whether they should have. But they love their child and they're great parents. Yeah. Some questionable. But I don't really ever get like a, but you really should. I don't get like whereas I have definitely got responses from females when I've said I don't want to have children or I don't think I'll ever have children. The response from a male to me is very different than a lot of females. What's it like with you? Like, both guys, same question actually. Guys, have you, when a guy's like to you, do you want to have kids? Not propositioning you, but like saying,
well, I've definitely had that before.
Do you want to have kids?
Can you have my
now?
babies?
Let's give it a go.
Look, I think it's the response. We sort of briefly touched on this in an earlier episode. I don't know which one, but a lot of the
hundreds.
There's been a bit of a mixed bag with men's comments back. And
you are a mixed bag, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm mixed race. I am.
That's an English Office reference, by the way.
Yeah, but I actually am.
Yeah.
I'm from men. It's a really funny thing because there's still so much misogyny and just like ridiculous standards that men hold for women. Like I saw a picture of Margot Robbie pregnant the other day and the comments from men being like, oh, she's ruined now. She was a 9, now she's a 4. Like just saying the most fucked up, ridiculous shit about her having it. Like she was pregnant. She's like 8 months pregnant and men are saying this about her and then also saying to me, like, oh, like you're fucked in the head. Like you're not living your purpose. It's your purpose to have a baby.
So
like being a woman, it's your purpose to have a child.
So there's like criticism from like it's from that Margot Robbie. Yeah. She was a 9, now she's a 4.
Yeah, but saying she's ruined and like
Margot
just
Robbie,
fucking ridiculous. And it's all from men who look like a fucking foot. They do. I looked at all their profile pictures and I was like, Hagrid's feet.
Oh, okay, cool.
Fucking ugly, just disgusting looking.
Is it like one of those accounts where it looks like they've never cleaned the camera lens?
Yeah.
Probably because they've got all this semen.
And they're like,
not.
It's a semen covered screen.
Probably,
Probably from.
No, it's my protective film, man.
Oh my god, no! But I looked at.
In your
but like they're saying these things about a woman they don't know. Personally,
hang on, that's from afar. So the people were happy to type that shit, but in person, like
so that's from afar with men.
Yeah.
Women, are, like I would say, either very understanding because they've gone through birthing a child, and they're like, I fucking get it. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm not who I am. Like I miss the old me. I want my time back. Like it's so hard. It's
not
so
saying they regret.
But like they're telling the truth. Telling the truth and like validating my feelings.
Yeah.
Basically saying, look, you're not wrong. And what I'm saying to this is like like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So you need to do what makes you personally happy and fuck everything else. Everyone has to, you just have to drown out that ridiculous noise and society's expectations and people's expectations around you and just do what's good for you, because no one else can tell you what's good for you.
What about people who like live in like fear of regret? I think that's one thing that people really struggle with.
I would much rather
that's
sit
like
there and regret not having children, but still love my life and be so happy, than regret having children.
What if you end up not loving your life because you regret it so much? I'm not saying you would be.
Well, that's just it's life.
Do you think that's a lot of people's fears?
No, but look,
do you think that
that's
they're
life.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, look, that's life, and people have regrets about everything, like so many different things, not just children.
That song, by the way, Frank Sinatra, that's life. Just saying.
But people, like, I feel very strongly about this because people say, you know, what if you regret having kids? It's like, what if you regret, like...
What if you regret not having kids?
Sorry, what if you regret not having kids?
Yeah.
And I feel like...
What if you're a shit parent?
No. What I'm saying is, listen to me.
Oh, it's a microphone.
What I'm saying is, like, there are so many things in your life that you can regret, right? You roads not taken in your life. So many people say that they do even when they do have children, but you have to be comfortable. Like I'm comfortable with my decisions, right? It's my responsibility to make decisions in my life. I'm not going to blame anyone for where I am if I'm unhappy, but I will fucking fix it. I will make myself happy either way because it's my life and I'm in charge of it. Like my life's not going to be ruined because I regret having children or not having children. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what's right for me and my happiness. I might look back like, you know, like I don't really believe in like regretting things because you made the right decision for you at that time.
No regrets, that like tattoo that I've got.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get a tattoo. No regrets. On my chest. But no, I really do believe that. You can't blame anyone for the situation that you're in, right? Because you have the power. I don't think
people are looking for someone to blame. I think that people feel like they might be scared.
Yeah.
I think people feel like...
But you have to make a decision for you in that moment that's right. And for me, this is a decision, and I don't know what I'm going to be like when I'm 80, but probably still sipping margaritas, like Pomeranians everywhere, like just like living the dream, bitching about you to my friends. You'll probably be bitching about me. Yeah, we're going to be little old biddies.
Hey, by the time you're 80, I'll be dead. Sure.
Hopefully not. Like, hopefully we do live a little bit longer than 80.
After you?
Yeah. Oh, Ross was gone. I was looking after him.
You don't have children. Who's going to look after you? There's literally so many of those comments. Who's going to look after you?
Yeah,
not my fucking children who are obligated to look after me.
By that point, I'm probably going to be so happy for the fucking silence, to be honest.
Yeah, but that'd be the drugs that the nurses are feeding you in the nursing home.
Yeah, probably.
It'd be
just
like,
high as a kite. Just like, look at all my kids.
And here's your daily anti-inflammatory, and you're like, why is there 7? How come they're all different colours?
Bring Johnny, my son, over here to say goodbye. I'm going to be so hallucinating. I'm just going to be like high as a kite, mate. I wouldn't even know where I am.
You'll be a healthy. You would be like a. You would look like you're 50 in your 80s.
That's the goal.
Crushing it.
Truly, that's the goal.
For sure.
And that's more achievable when I don't have children.
Yeah, look, maybe. I think some people would argue, be like, yeah, but they keep you young and blah blah blah, and like.
I don't know anyone who looks younger because they've had kids.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, in fact, I don't think a lot of people.
Unless it's surgically enhanced.
Maybe they feel young. Maybe they feel connected more to the youth, and they get what's going on a little bit more. Yeah, so it's like I don't fucking care what a 12-year-old does. To be honest,
what's everybody been up to? Like Mean Girls' mum.
Yeah.
When she comes in and her nipples are hard, she's got like the.
She didn't have dinner plate nipples.
No, she didn't. She had a little pointy.
She didn't seem to have too many.
She had Kim Kardashian's Skims bra on for that one. It was like little pointy nipples.
That wasn't out then.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Definitely wasn't out then.
No, definitely not. But yeah, you know, like I think, yeah, we've gone way off topic. But yeah, I think coming back to like the expectations on women,
unfair, fair, realistic.
I think it's ridiculous.
Changing? Do you think it's changing? Do you think there's a direction?
I don't think it's changing.
You don't feel like there's a change?
I think misogyny will always be around, and expectations on women to.
No, I'm not a woman, obviously, but I think it's a lot. I think it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think it's easier to at least voice the opinions that you have, like in terms of pushback, like today, than it would be in like fucking 1960s.
Oh, definitely.
I think if a chick in the 1960s was like, how you going? You see, you're having kids,
having kids,
and you're just like, no, I don't think I will. You see, it's like I think that pushback is far different.
Girls didn't talk like that in that day.
That was a dude
did.
asking a chick.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Honestly, like the freedoms to be able to voice this
much better.
Yeah, much better. But I think
heading in a better direction. Do you think?
I don't know. I think people will always expect, well, not all people, but a lot of people will always expect that having children is a woman's purpose.
Definitely. See, there's two people that I don't want to
That's how I was raised. Like that was what it was ingrained into my mind. It's like having children is like a woman's purpose.
So you look at your role models and like your idols. Or I'm not going to say they're role models or idols, but there's definitely people that I take like a page out of their book or whatever. So you've got people like John Cena was like, I mean, I think,
I respect him so much for literally being like,
I think what he's done is incredible.
Even when he was with Nikki Bella and he was like, I'm still not having kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't want children.
Then there's two people that I want to bring up, which is like, and the reason why I want to bring them up is because they're people in terms of the way they carry themselves, what they've achieved, the impact they have on the world, Jordan Peterson, and then Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And both of those, and I think for slightly different reason, Jordan Peterson, and I don't want to misquote him, so I'm going to find his quote. Yeah, Jordan Peterson, if you don't want children, you're either deluded or immature. Like he said that. And I find that to be very fucking insulting to people who have thought out and reflected and just decided that, you know what, it's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine if you actually have, like, imagine if he was able to give someone the benefit of the doubt and be like, cool, maybe you did reflect, maybe you did some searching, maybe you've come to this decision over 10 years. For him to be like, you're immature, deluded. Like, what am I just going to choose one or two? Like, first of all, I'd choose immature over deluded. But, like, that's pretty fucking insulting. Yeah. And then Elon Musk, I mean, he's, an extremely successful person in a lot of aspects of his life. I don't know too much about his personal life, the stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah.
But he's got like 12 or fucking 1,200 kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much of a dad he is to those children. I'm sure he's probably a great dad. But, you do hear a message from him is like, our job is to populate the world. I don't think he should be having kids also to just populate the world. Yeah. I would love to hear from someone like him being like, the reason why you want to have kids is because it changes your life. You get to impart your wisdom. You get to create the next generation of leaders, of thought thinkers, or whatever it may be. Like, but I think what drowns out a lot of his stuff is like, we've got an underpopulation issue. We've got an issue where the population is in decline. Like that. Yeah. I don't know. And that Jordan Peterson, that really fucking cut me. Like I've read a couple of his books.
Yeah.
Watched probably, I don't know, 40, 50 hours of his stuff online and think he's an incredible person.
Incredible in what way?
Oh, he's just very, he's...
Just like what he's achieved and...
No, well, he's a trained, I don't want to say physician, psychologist, but he actually treats people and also is a lecturer. I think his stance on back in, maybe like 8 years ago, when like the debate or the discussion around you will tell me what I will tell you what you have to call me, and that started to become law. So if I identified as like something else, I could actually force you by law to. And he made a really big stance. Yeah. And I think he didn't just like preach stuff. He actually worked, and he's worked with like hundreds, probably if not thousands of people one-on-one in clinical situations where he's like understood where people's heads are at, why they make decisions, and studied philosophy. Like, so I think he's a very intelligent person, and I think he has generally a pretty great outlook on life. Yeah. And I think if a lot of people subscribe to a lot of the things that he preaches, talks about, and has concluded, I think the world would probably be a better place. But so I really take that like statement from him as like, fuck man, now it's like you just really like.
Why do you think that is his view? Like, has he actually said that's the like
I think
the reasoning for like that view?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's done in-depth things about it. One, he has kids. So I think you're almost like a public figure, and to be able to say something, I don't think he's pushing an agenda of like, population.
Do you think it's kind of one of those things where it's one of those things he says to be a little bit controversial.
No, I think he genuinely believes it. Same with like Patrick Bet David, when Cena actually posted that they actually aired his little clip, and then all of the 4-panel, they gave their comments, and every one of them were like, yeah, dude, but when you have kids and when you have a family, like that's what we're here for. We're that fan. I just think that maybe they just haven't experienced certain things that other people have experienced that have just led them to a solid conclusion that, you know what, having a child for me is not right for me. And I'm not saying that, and I think it's a minority. Yeah. And I think it should be the minority. It's probably like that 80-20. I think 80% of people, great, go and have kids. And I think, our job as the 20% who are not going to have kids is to create a world that makes sure that your kids thrive and have a great life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I still did feel like, even from like, again, the PPD guys, like none of them were like, oh, look, that's actually really, that's fine. He said that.
Yeah.
That's how he feels. He's not a dumb guy. He's done very well for himself personally and professionally. He seems pretty happy. And maybe he's just come to the conclusion that that's not right for me. Yeah. To then still be pushing like, but it's like, are you actually fucking listening to what he's saying? So I don't know. I find that a little bit annoying sometimes.
Sometimes people's lessons and experiences in life is having kids. Like I said earlier, like that's some people, like that's the things that they learn from. It helps them grow as a person. But there's other people out there like you and I who've gone through things that those people probably won't, maybe not go through in their entire life. So that's like us saying like, well, until your parent or partner kills himself, you're always going to be immature. Or like saying, unless you lose a parent to cancer,
that's what
you will always be immature and like. See,
if I feel like,
do you know what I mean?
Like, if Jordan Peterson was sitting in front of me and he was like, look, I think it's either like you're either deluded or immature. Like, mate, when your partner kills them, when your partner's parent kills themselves when they're 25 years old and you've been in a 7 or 8 year relationship with them, do you still think that you're either deluded or immature, or do you think that you maybe have to handle things a little bit differently? And maybe,
totally.
Like, and I'm sure he would come back with like all of these words, and I'll be like, hang on a second, I'll be
like
Googling
salad.
them, and be like, hang on a second, but whatever. I don't know. I just think that I think there should be more respect towards
just having the choice and not being constantly challenged and try to have your mind changed because
don't back people into a corner.
People think they know what's right for you when in all actual fact, like most people know what's right for them, but
most people
a lot of people are kind of like,
yeah,
that's kind of true.
But like, just
in my experience, I know what's right for me.
About like just being a decent person. Like, don't back people into a corner.
Respect people and respect people's opinions.
Respect that. You don't need
unless
to agree
they're
with
like
them.
Harming someone or hurting someone. Just like let people live their life, and if they fucking regret it, then they regret it.
Yeah, it's not going to be harmful.
How's that going to affect your life?
Fine.
Someone
on that topic,
doing it and not doing it.
On that note, sorry.
Have a little sip, a little refresh,
sparkling,
a bit of hydrate.
On that note, next episode, which is going to be the final episode on this discussion of why we want to live a child-free life, so controversial. We're going to pull a bunch of comments, some audio notes. So
reactions and reflections.
Over the past couple of weeks, you've like posted on your socials and got people to do some voice notes and to write some questions.
Yeah. We didn't want to give too much away about doing a podcast at that point. So
no,
we were kind of elusive about it, but we've, we'll discuss under what circumstances we might have kids.
Actually, Under what circumstance would you have children?
What if I did fall pregnant? Actually, what would we do? That's been a very big question from a lot of people. One that someone tried to literally trip me up on the radio, like totally unexpected.
That was actually really fucked up. That they led you down that path.
Yeah, trying to get a bit of a soundbite. Yeah, trying to bait me for their radio show interview to be the one that stands up from the bunch about that topic.
Yeah,
because that would have gone really, really badly if I didn't know how to respond to that kind of a question.
So let's
But
answer
we're going to
it here.
dive into that next episode.
Yeah.
Reactions and reflections and all of everyone's voice notes about question and answers. Daisy's had a wonderful time, as you can tell. She's
She
literally
is
fast
passed the
asleep.
fuck out.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us on our third
Can I just
episode.
also say before, I should have said this at the beginning. You look amazing.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you always do, but
Thank you.
I really like this fit up pokey. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing
What
Odd
is this
Muse.
fit?
I'm wearing Odd Muse. I'm wearing I don't know what the jewelry.
You're
that
wearing
I'm
clothes.
wearing.
You're wearing clothes. So if you're listening,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter to you because you're not
I'm
watching.
wearing a beautiful
But
Odd Muse dress.
you do.
Actually,
You
this
look,
is.
I really like that look on
It's
you.
giving like it's very demure. I know
fucking
it's going to
hate that,
piss
one,
people
I
off
don't
so
know
much
where
if I
that
say
comes
that.
from, and two, I don't care. Like I don't know. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
if-
Don't forget to subscribe, share, give us all your feedback. We love to hear it. We're so glad that we've been able to share all of this with you guys and just be our most vulnerable
Authentic
selves.
selves,
Thank you
hashtag.
for being so like vulnerable
Oh,
with me
thank
today.
you.
No, don't make fun of it because it's so nice.
cute.
Ross, not everything is a fucking joke, okay? Calm
Yeah,
down.
Should be.
But thank you for actually being like very vulnerable with me today. I really did not expect you to
I'll show
cry
you vulnerable.
because I've probably only ever seen you cry like
I didn't cry.
a handful of times.
There was something in my fucking eye. There's aircon in this place.
Yeah, it's drying your eyes
Also,
out.
shout out to Focal Media.
Yeah.
It
Coming
wasn't
to
the
you.
aircon. It was something from my shirt.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah. It's
your
fun
perfume.
as always,
Good material.
recording the podcast at Focal Media in the studios here. Fantastic.
Thank you for listening anyway, guys. We're just going to keep on going on otherwise. And if you want to tune into the next episode, we're going to go through a few of your voice notes, your comments,
Yep.
and a couple of other little things. Again, what would we do if we did fall pregnant? Well, if you fell pregnant, because I can't fall pregnant,
Yep.
as we discovered. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And a couple of other little things, but that'll be it. We're
Yeah.
going to wrap this up
Yep.
in terms of...
Last episode.
Yeah, we're going
Yeah.
to throw it all out on the line and we're going to get cancelled in the last episode. Thanks, guys.
We love
Peace.
you guys. Thanks for tuning in to In Real Life. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe on Spotify and connect with us on Instagram at IRL with us. And remember, life isn't about meeting other people's expectations. It's about living it on your terms and meeting your own expectations. So go out there and live in real life. We'll see you next time.